I want to say that Chai Rum was created by someone who put forward their proposal to the Ideas to Innovation project of the Council for Competitiveness and Innovation. And that is why we have a new superior international project today and product called Chai Rum. That person was Kiran Akal, the nephew of V.S. Naipaul, who got the particular project going. And the dark chocolate in Harrods, that was sent to Harrods in early 2015, based on a project that had been stewarded by the then Minister of Food Production, Mr. Devant Maharaj. And the Exim Bank issue that she mentions, I want to say that if you look at our 2015 manifesto, on page 74, you will see the following. To achieve these clearly identified objectives, that is for the manufacturing sector, we will properly capitalize the Exim Bank and provide sub-market rates and strong factoring support to exporters in order to boost exports, and create a line of credit in US dollars at the Exim Bank for manufacturers, thereby reducing the strain of competing for US dollars with importers who make little contribution to foreign exchange earnings. This will resolve the issue of a non-contentious and non-preferential way forward. So we have no problem with them taking the ideas or building on what we have done. We have no problem. That is how governments operate. But what I have a problem with is they're coming and claiming it as if it were an expropriation. The other issue, I think the same can also be said of the transshipment initiative, but I won't go into that. And the Minister for Trade mentioned the issue of SMEs focus and extra-regional markets. All of these things are commendable. I want to let her know that with the Export Company of Trinidad and Tobago, what the then Economic Development Board did with that, at that time it was headed by Richard Young, who is now head of the International Finance Center. You see, we put people in positions in order to do the work for the country. But when he was there, one of the things that we did was identify the top 20 exporting companies in the country and tried to grow those exports using the Export Development Company, driven by the Economic Development Board, who had oversight of a number of issues related to these things. I want to remind the member for Point Fortin that she was member of Point Fortin and a minister in P&M administration for almost 10 years. And she did not advance the case of the Point Fortin Hospital, which had been on the drawing books for God knows how long, 30 years maybe. And we did it because we felt it was necessary and good. About the Maruga agro-processing and light manufacturing, we like Maruga, and we have served Maruga well. And we will get a chance to serve Maruga again. And we wish all the projects that accrue to the benefit of Maruga, whether it's the fishing port or whether it's the agro-processing, we wish these projects well so that the people can benefit and have jobs. The Lubery Dry Dock project, I want to say that that is a project you will find also in this manifesto. It is something that we initiated, and I want to remind the country, and the minister knows this because she would have seen the documents. We did an entire study on the business of ports and the implications of the Panama canal and its expansion on port opportunities in the Caribbean, including Trinidad and Tobago. And one of the recommendations of that port study was either that we could move the port of Port of Spain to La Brea, or we could use La Brea as a dry docking facility and keep the port of Port of Spain intact, so to speak, with changes. And they recommended changes that should be done. They wanted to move the port, things like that, move it further down to sea lots and things like that. The important thing about that particular project was that it had to be financed. And we signed an agreement with the Chinese government, of course, to begin the discussion about dry docking. We did not contract anybody for it, and it would have been a cost. And the issue there was, if we had to go into a loan, what would that mean? At that time, the debt to GDP ratio was 45% under our watch. And we were then worried about carrying up the debt. And secondly, we were worried about what the debt might mean if it involved a Chinese company, Chinese financing, and Chinese diplomacy, and what that might mean ultimately in the end.